Hey y'all, hey, this is Raw to the Bone. I bet you're wondering why I have this masquerade mask on. I'm gonna tell you why. See, I come on here and I tell my stories, and sometimes I have to feel a part of the story. So this part of the story is part 2 of my first marriage, right? Part 1 I posted, it said, I said yes when I should have the fuck said no. Something to those effects. But the story is out there on YouTube. So today, I want to start on part 2. This is going to be called the Masquerade Party, or was it a marriage? Something to that effect. I'm working on it. But part 2 of my first marriage. Part 1, guys, if you, just a quick recap. There was some infidelity in part 1 and before my marriage. And I still decided to marry the jackass. You know, you get thoughts in your head. Oh, I went too far. I planned the wedding. I spent the money. You know, those kind of excuses and stories. Right? I gave myself those excuses and those stories. So I wound up marrying him, okay? So fast forward about a year later or so. We moved back to, in my last story, I talked about moving to Brooklyn for a short period of time or whatever. And so at this particular time, we moved back to Westchester. That's where I lived when I married my husband the first time. And that's where our first apartment was. And so I wanted to go back there. I did not like living in Brooklyn. Not because of the people, not because of the area. It just, my life was still in Westchester, the Bronx, that area. So we moved back to Mount Vernon. He found us a beautiful Victorian home. It was an apartment, the first floor apartment. I love this apartment, okay? So here I thought we had a fresh start. Had I known we were going to be wearing these masks, I would have prepared better, but I didn't. So let the masquerade begin. I didn't think it was a masquerade at first, but it became a masquerade, and we played it well. We did. So, as time moved on, this apartment, it was myself, my first husband, my son, Alvin, and periodically my brother would pop in and out. The details of those stories will pop up in some of my Facebook Lives. But for first husband focused purposes, we're just going to stick the story on that. He was still having infidelities. See, he didn't learn from the first lesson. And obviously I was too stupid and I was too easy to give him another chance. I was getting ready to get married, y'all. I just wanted to do what was right. Okay? I just wanted to do what was right. So, we had an Acura Integra at the time. And so I found out that he was dating, he was hanging and doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. And I felt like that was the car that we bought together. And the car wasn't even in either of our names. It was in my grandmother's name because we had just got married. We were young. We were building our credit, and she had the best credit to give us the best interest rate. So she agreed, and it was in her name. So I was furious, and I was thinking to myself, you get up every day and you show up. You're that wife that's still attending church. You know, you come home, you cook, you clean. You're trying to be a mother to your child at the same time. I'm building a career. I didn't just have a job that I could just quit and go back to. I'm building a career. Because my thing was, listen, I had to make sure that my bread and butter was my bread and butter, whether my husband was there or not. Okay, I still had to survive. I learned that very young. And you guys will learn that in my story, my childhood stories, but I took a pause from them because of the pandemic. But back to this husband. So I said to myself, how are you going to get him for this? How are you going to hurt him like he hurt you? So I'm thinking, but you know, when you so mad, you be thinking to do some wicked shit. You don't realize you hurt yourself at the same time, but I didn't give a fuck. I was like, that's it, I'm going down with the shit. So I called my grandmother. Actually, I went over to my grandmother's house. And I said to her, Grandma, my husband is having infidelities and I'm tired of the bullshit. Okay, and I feel like he's driving bitches around. I didn't say bitches, but this is what I'm saying to y'all, so y'all could feel my pain at the time. Bitches around in the car. And I feel like he don't deserve the car. And he's not going to stop driving it because I keep telling him to stop driving it and he doesn't listen. So I want to call the bank and tell the bank that I can't afford the car anymore and to come and get it. Are you okay with that? Because either whether you call the bank to come get it or whether you don't pay your bill and they come get it, it's still deemed a, what do you call it when they take your car? A repossessed car, repossession. So it's still deemed a repossession. So I had to make sure my grandmother was okay with that. And she said to me, she said, at my age, I have more than enough credit to get me by. Do what you gotta do. Say no more, Grandma. Say no more. So I called the bank because back in those days, I don't know if they do it anymore, but back in those days, even though the car was in my grandmother's name, she didn't have a driver's license. They let us register and insure the car in my name, right? So I was down as an authorized person to deal with the bank. They don't do that anymore. I know that for a fact. Not here in New Jersey anyway. But anyway, say no more, Grandma. So I called the bank. At that time, I had my car loan at the Bank of New York. That bank is not in existence anymore. The Bank of New York. I called them and I told them that I was struggling financially. I wouldn't be able to upkeep the car. They said, well, they can't come get the car until missed payments or whatever the case may be. So I stopped paying. But I told them, I said, listen, I can't afford it. So I stopped paying. He's giving me money for the house and stuff like that. And I'm paying the bills, but that's the one bill I'm not paying. Because you want to drive bitches around. So I knew that it was going to take a couple of months for the bank to come and get this car. I knew it would. Okay? I knew it would. But y'all, I have allergies. Let me just grab something. I'm back. I knew it would take a couple of months for this to happen. So I waited. I waited patiently. Okay? I'm not crying. I got allergies. I waited patiently. Okay? Well, one morning, about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, we're asleep. Our bedroom was, this house, we had 2 entrances. We had the front entrance and the back entrance. Okay? And I used to park the car. We used to park the car around the back. And our bedroom was towards the back and Alvin's bedroom was more towards the front. So I can hear anybody that's coming in through the driveway. Well, I heard these lights. Well, I didn't hear these lights. I heard this car and I saw the lights, like those siren lights, but they wasn't making any noise. And I was like, oh shoot, had to be a tow truck. I stayed in bed. Okay? Knocked on the door, they're knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door. And my husband's like, somebody's at the door. And I'm looking at him because you the motherfucking man. What you telling me somebody's at the door for? I saw the light, so I knew what was going on. So he goes to the door. And I'm laying in the bed, okay, holding every muscle in my face not to laugh. And he goes to the door. He comes back from the door and he goes, oh my God, the tow truck is here. They're saying at the bank is having them repossess the car. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, what would you like me to do? Well, how could this happen if we're paying the car note? So I simply looked at him and I said, you want to drive bitches around in our car that's in my grandmother's name? This is what the fuck happens. So I didn't get up out of bed. I didn't get up out of bed. They took that car. Yep. And then I woke up the next morning, well, a couple of hours later, and I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I done did. He's cheating on me. I done got so pissed, had him take the car, had them take the car. Now I ain't got a car. Now I'm sad. I'm sad now. This don't make no damn sense. So, of course, I call my good best friend, my good male friend. I'm not going to mention his name because I try not to mention people's names on here unless they say I could talk about them and put a name to it. But I called my best friend. If he listened to the story, he going to know who it is. And I cried. I was like, I don't have a car. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Northern Boulevard in Queens. He took me. I remember. And we found a car. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse 5-speed. The Acura Integra was a manual shift also. And so the Mitsubishi Eclipse was manual, and I was comfortable with that. Okay? So with my credit at the time, I couldn't hold a good loan, so they I needed him to co-sign for me. And he did that. No questions asked. And I drove home. That was 2 weeks after the Acura Integra went back to the bank to get auctioned off or whatever, right? I wind up having a brand new car, and I drove that car home one day, and I parked it in the back of my house, and I didn't say a word to my husband, okay? And he came home, and he said, whose car is that? I said, Mom. But your motherfucking ass gotta take the bus to work because you don't know how to motherfucking act. You driving bitches around in the car. Okay? But let me tell you how motherfuckers do. How long was I gonna be able to keep him out of my car when I needed him to pick up Alvin? This is how they pull your ass back in. They pull your ass back in. I need him to go pick up my son from school or do whatever because I traveled a lot for work. So then I would need him, and then I would have to give him my car, and then all of a sudden he's driving my car again, right? But you would think he would have learned his lesson again. Meanwhile, we still going to church, posing, smiling. Hi, y'all. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Singing the choir. See you at rehearsal on Friday. Okay. Yes, ma'am. How's you and your family? Oh, good. We're doing good. No, we weren't doing good. We were fucked up. Okay. But we were masquerading. We were doing this. Okay. Many of people like Masquerade, but after a while, this shit get hot. I want to take the shit off. And so I did eventually. But y'all find out when, at what point, what point got me to the point of no return. It wasn't this one. So he's driving around in my car. Now, I told you guys that my family and friends and my life was up there, Mount Vernon, Westchester, Bronx, right? So I got a lot of friends. So a year or so goes by, I don't know, time just going by, and we still masquerading around in this marriage. And I had a friend that owned a beeper store on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. If he listens to this story, he'll know who I'm talking to. And a lot of times I would get off at that train station, get off and hang with them, the guys in the shop, and hang out with all of them just to chill, right? So this particular day, I got off the train at Gun Hill Road in the Bronx to go shout out at my friend that owned the beeper store. And he said, Robin, I got something to tell you. He didn't say it like that, but I had to exaggerate it. But he was like, yo, you my friend, I love you, and I'm just gonna tell you this. Your husband is at it again. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it to be mean, right? And I'm sorry for all those that know him and know who I'm talking about. I don't mean to be bad, but I'm being honest. He wasn't even laying the pipe right at home. So when you're not laying the pipe right at home, how you take raggedy ass dick out to the street? How can you do that? Is it because these bitches are lying to you, telling you that, you laying good pipe? He hadn't laid good pipe for a long time. I was complaining about that pipe for a long ass time. He used to call me a dude. Okay? He used to tell me I made him feel bad. What the fuck is this shit? I made you feel bad because I'm asking you to lay some pipe, but you take that raggedy ass pipe out to the world? Okay. Anyway. So he didn't learn his lesson. He didn't. And so we continued to fucking fight. We did. I didn't think we were going to survive. But by this time when the person in the beeper store told me that he was, fucking around, we had already moved again to another apartment because I needed a 3-bedroom apartment because my brother decided to come and live with me. So I moved and got a bigger apartment. So now remember, I don't have the Acura Integra anymore. I have the red car. So in this particular apartment, not only were we still fighting about his infidelities, but we were fighting about his finances as well. Because, I did say he wasn't laying the pipe right? And then on top of that, you fucked up financially. When I say fucked up financially, I don't mean you ain't got no money or you're not making a lot of money. I mean you just being fucking irresponsible with your money. That's what I'm talking about. You just being irresponsible with your money. You buying, Ferragamo and stuff like this and getting tailor-made suits and stuff and not paying your bills. I came home one day wearing a fur coat and all the lights was out. I noticed everybody else's lights was on. Why was my lights out? Because he didn't pay the bill. So on top of the infidelity, you're not paying the bills. You're not laying the pipe right. You messed up in all 3 areas. I know time is coming to an end. It got to be. I just had to get there. Okay? We living in this apartment at the time. And so by this time I started to disconnect from my marriage. And although we didn't separate right away, I had verbally told him I was going to step outside of the marriage because his shit was whack. I did. I'm delivered. I'm not that same person anymore. But at least I didn't just step out of the marriage. I told him I would. Right? Because if I got busted or anything, it wouldn't really be like I was busted. But you're not doing any part of what you're supposed to be doing in a marriage. You want me to continue to show up as a wife, masquerading, doing my part, but you're not giving the pipe. You're not paying the bills. And you cheating? I'm not showing up to be your wife. Yes, we showed up at choir rehearsal on Fridays together, masquerading. See? Hey girl, hey. We showed up on Sabbath together, praying together. Our Father, who art in heaven. We did. We went to AY Youth together, praising. I look down the road and I wonder. One of the AY songs. I look down the road and I wonder how far I was from God. That was a AY song. We did that. We even hung out with the crew after. Went bowling, ate, hung out. We did all that, masquerading. But we were having wars in the house, okay? So I want to say this. This is my journey through my first marriage, and it's a part of a series. I'm going to make it a series because part 1 is already out there. All right, so part 1 is called I Said Yes When I Shoulda the Fuck Said No. This is going to be called something Masquerade or Another. You guys will see it there, but it'll say part 2. Okay? And I hope you enjoyed this part 2 of my journey through my first marriage. I'm going to take this off now because I was masquerading through the story, but that story is over. Okay? But I do want to thank you for joining in on my YouTube channel. And I would like to say, please subscribe, like, and share. Always share. I would love my stories to get out there because these are things that people go through in their marriages, in their lives, and people judge you. Or sometimes people feel alone. Or sometimes they're saying, why am I so stupid to stay? It's not stupid. It's your experience. Okay? And it's how you overcome your experience. And if you're able to tell your story, you tell your story and help somebody else. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm telling my story to help me, and I hope that it helps somebody else. Okay? So please like, subscribe, and share to my channel. Please take this journey with me. I promise you I won't disappoint. Okay? And during this coronavirus pandemic, please practice social distancing. Okay? Talk to your loved ones over video. Virtual is always good. It works. Stay safe. Stay home. Gone for now, but not gone forever. Raw to the bone.